Hello and welcome back to Eastenders Weekly, your weekly podcast all about Eastenders. This week we're both going to be discussing episodes from the 20th to the 24th of August. Summer season's nearly over now on the square.
The silly season. The silly season's almost done.
Very
and
silly.
Now we're getting to the serious stuff.
It is. We're going to see how my speech goes this week again.
Oh, well, yes, Ben's the ongoing adventures of Ben and dentistry. He's returned to the dentist, and yesterday...
No, I have more teeth.
No, you have more teeth, and yesterday you couldn't sip through a straw. It was just
I had
painful.
anaesthetic yesterday.
Yeah,
so
anaesthetic.
It's a bit, whatever. So it's a bit blurry at the moment.
It's like, what's that film, The Hangover? Because Ben doesn't drink or do anything naughty, and so this anaesthetic has really taken Ben for six. It was like watching a whole new dreamy Ben. That
So my roundup might be a bit muddled, but we'll just have to go with it. I mean, this week we are going, just so everyone knows what we're doing, we're talking about Kush's storyline, then we've got the Ian and Kathy storyline, then we've got I'm Doing This Now coming up, then we're going to move on to Ted, and then Honey's for new date, new man. Then we're going to do a little bit about Tiffany and her new man, Jagger. Then we've got a game, and then we'll do our poll of the week.
Yep, so don't skip through any of that, because it's all good content.
We hope. It's not yet to be recorded.
For goodness sake. God, a half glass empty today.
So we're going to be talking about Kush and Denise's new storyline, which I'm not a fan of.
No, well, they
one of the worst decisions by John York.
They like ruining quite strong bonds, don't they? They seem to be. I mean, I was having a chat with someone on Twitter recently about affair storylines, or someone making a mistake when they're with someone's storylines, and it's just such an easy way into making a story, isn't it? And they've just done it again. They've just found an easy way of just kind of panning out this story.
So unnecessary as well.
Really unnecessary. There was really nothing to lead to it.
No.
It was a bit silly. So, well, Kush is mourning over his brother Shaquille, and Denise points out that it takes men a little longer to get upset over things. Women grieve straight away and then it's over, while men like to dwell on it a few times. Forgetting that also Kush had the responsibility of looking after his mother, organising the funeral, getting his father over and his two brothers to come to the funeral, organising a ceremony not just for the Muslim community but also for the Christian community. All these little things that perhaps Kush didn't have had time to sit back and relax and think about mourning for his brother.
But the thing is, Denise wasn't even like pushy or angry at him. Like when he was at home all day, like drinking beers, like she came and had half a day off, and I thought, she's going to come and have a go at him because he's drinking. But she sat down and had a beer with him.
Well, I like that.
And it was like it was like really supportive and nice. And then he's just gone and done this. It's just stupid.
Oh no, absolutely. There's no excuse for what Kush.
No, but it doesn't even make sense. Like if she came home and had a go at him and said, "Oh, you're drunk on the day. Get to work," and then he went and had an affair with this woman, it would have made a little bit more sense.
Yeah,
but because she's been really supportive to him and nice, it's just awful.
It was unnecessary. He had too much to drink, though. He'd had a few too many tins. God, I sound like my father. Yeah, a few tins in at the house the day before, and then he got invited to a special VIP night at Walford East's opening. More to come later. It's finally opening, and the big payoff for Walford East. More of that coming soon. So Denise invites Kush to come with her and Kim. Kush first of all says no, but Carmel gives him a few words of advice.
So Carmel is acting like mum again.
Yes, as
the
she
roles
should.
Have reversed.
Yeah.
Back to how they should be. So she obviously sees that Kush is struggling a bit, seeing as he's drunk in a dressing gown, watching cricket. But she has like a few words of wisdom about the relationship with him and Denise as well, saying that she really loves him and she like warns him not to push Denise away and that she's good for him. And that's quite nice coming from her, because how she was so against it originally with them being friends and things.
Well, no, that's what I've thought as well, because Kush and Denise fought. Another reason why this storyline is such a horrible thing to do. They fought tooth and nail to be together, and against Carmel's wishes, but then Carmel accepted it.
Yeah, she's now accepted it, and now he's done it.
Now he's done it. Well, now he's about to do something terrible to them. Kim and Denise have already arrived at I want to call it E20. Have already arrived at Walford East. Kush did say that he had a shift at E20 as well, which was completely out of the blue.
He hasn't done one of them. I haven't seen him do one of them yet.
He did the launch night, remember?
Yeah, that only lasted 10 minutes.
Yeah, after they had to close
after Phil's baseball bat.
The first night. And he turns up a little bit cut, but not entirely cut. And he's a little bit loud, a little bit obnoxious, a little bit over the top. But Kim's, says, just let him have a bit of fun. He needs to let his hair down for the night. Sonia and Bex kind of go over and say, is he okay? Because Bex still feels guilty for pushing Shaquille away and then realising that she
loves him.
She loved him, yeah. And they're, everyone kind of agreed that, yes, Kush is being a bit rude, but he needs this time just to...
Yeah, his way to grieve.
Yeah, his way to grieve.
And he gets a champagne bottle.
Well, Ian tries to get on Kim's side by buying her champagne. Kim refuses. Yeah, Kim refuses because obviously she's pregnant, but no one knows yet until Kush then pops the champagne bottle open and announces it in front of the whole restaurant, which then upsets Denise, and she leaves with Kim. She does ask Kush to come with her, but he's like, no, I'm staying.
They just leave him on the...
He says, all right, mum, or old woman.
Oh, yeah, he calls her mum, doesn't he?
And Denise is quite upset by this because obviously this age gap has never been a problem initially with Kush, even though it was always a problem for Denise. But now, in a drunken state, it's become a problem perhaps for Kush as well. But Kush stays behind.
He does. All the lights are off.
Yes.
And he's sort of hunched over. And
well, like all good evenings, all good launches, it closes early.
Yeah. I mean, the waitress girl did give him a look behind the bar earlier.
She had intentions in
and he looks back and smiles. So, in a drunk state, she sort of pulled him by his arm and took him away. Well,
no, they kind of... It was like their bottle led Kush to his demise because she kind of took a swig and off they went back to his flat.
And the next morning, he said he obviously forgot this happened and woke up and she was next to him. And he was like, "Oh, I was so drunk I can't remember." And she was like, "Oh yeah, so was I." It's like, "Well, she?"
Yeah, I know. I didn't understand
she was the waitress working there.
I mean, I don't know if she maybe had a few drinks round Kush's afterwards.
Maybe. I mean, does Ian need to look at a different agency for these waiters? Because last year he had Kyle working in the restaurant, and obviously remember his friend, that girl who was a lesbian?
Oh, yes.
She worked as a waiter.
Yes.
And ended up sleeping with Tina. Copped
up with Tina.
And now this waitress is doing it with Kush. So is this a dodgy agency that he's using?
Well, his hiring process is either if he fancies your mother, you're in, or he calls you a racist slur by accident, then by association you're in. So he seems to have not really a very good... In fact, I don't think he's interviewed anyone for any of the jobs there.
No, he gave Tiffany a job just...
Oh, he gave Tiffany a job,
because it might mean she could do Mel's makeup.
Yes, which was another... So again, connection, if he fancies someone whose makeup and hair you do, then...
Although Keegan has got a job.
Well, that's what I meant by this racial slur.
Oh, was that the racial slur? Oh, okay. I can't remember.
It wasn't really a racial slur.
Almost.
But Keegan kind of turned it around to be one, to quickly get...
So the next morning, he's got the girl. I can't remember her name, actually. She has got a name. Talia.
Yes. They now name the extras. It's all fun.
Which means she could be back.
Well, this is the question, because when quickly they hurry in to get her things up together and to leave, she turns around to Kush just before she leaves out the door and says that she's not a one-date Kate.
Bit late to say that, Kate.
Yeah.
Talia, whatever her name is, Lalia.
Yeah. So she is there.
I'm not a one-date Kate, but I'm going to sleep with you on the first day.
Yeah.
This isn't even a date.
Well, she didn't say she's not a put-out Paul or something like that. She's not a one-date Kate. So she's obviously got intentions to maybe come back and get Kush.
Well, if she's working at Walford East, she'd be there most weekends.
Yeah, but if she's only agency, she might just be there just for the paycheck.
Maybe she'll blackmail him for some cash. She must find out that he didn't tell her that he's got a girlfriend.
No, he doesn't. She doesn't know
not yet.
He's got Denise. He's got a Denise. But Carmel witnesses, spots all this.
I was hoping she would have just called him out on it like straight away, but
well, she drops subtle little hints.
Yeah, he said really rubbish lies, but I think she knows, doesn't she? She knows full well what went on next door to her.
Yeah,
that's another thing. Like, I know it's disgusting to think about it, but her room was like the same wall where her bed.
I mean, in Walford, we especially if coming from the Slater house, we've learned that the walls are not that thin, because you could have a full-blown conversation about someone else on the other side of the door and they wouldn't hear a thing, unless it's convenient for them to hear, and then of course it's a problem. Maybe Kush is just a very gentle lover. Maybe.
Well, he was quite drunk, so
that's true. Maybe you can perform. Dear gosh,
it's peak fitness,
spiraling out of control.
He's not been to the gym for a week either. Probably he's been drunk. So
well, that's what he's done. That's been his workout: lifting a can to his mouth and drinking from it. That's not much of a workout.
No. So this day, Kush is now kind of feeling remorseful, kind of.
He's feeling really guilty.
But he still did it, Kush.
Well, he can't go back though, can he? He can't
put a stain on Kush's character for me, this has.
Yeah.
A big stain on her.
A big black mark next to his name.
Yeah, it's kind of spoilt him a little bit. Because he tells Martin pretty much straight away that this has happened. Because he wants to have a drink with him.
He has a drink with Martin, the lads, the bromance.
Even though, like, the last time this happened, it was when Kush did it with Martin's wife.
With Stacey.
Yes. Yeah, so probably not the best person.
Well, I mean, Martin was quite sympathetic, and he said, because Kush is adamant that he wants to tell Denise, but Martin kind of says, well, ignorance is bliss, and I'd rather have never known about you and Max. with Stacey. I mean, it really did put a really bad stain on Stacey when you think about it as well. Looking back,
I think that's a bit weird that Martin said that. I would have thought he would have wanted to.
I know because I think the whole time that they did, but the whole time they did the storyline with Max and to a lesser extent Kush, Martin was more upset, but not necessarily that she slept with another person, but because she didn't tell him the truth about him being not the man she wanted him to be, but also that she wasn't open with him. So surely Martin would be more of an encourager of the truth.
I thought that
rather than
it's a very mucky storyline this week.
Muddy waters.
Don't like it.
No, but when he does eventually cook, or Denise cooks him dinner, and he does eventually decide to tell her. Carmel walks into the room and he stops.
Stops it, yeah.
So what's made him stop with
He
Carmel?
probably just doesn't want to say it when someone else is interrupting, maybe. Although it might be safer saying it with Carmel there, because she could, like, intervene.
Yeah, but whose side would she take? Would she take Denise or would she take her Cushy?
I'm wondering if this is to do with Carmel's leaving storyline. Like, is she going to, on her last day, like, tell Denise or something? Or like, she tells Denise and Kush gets angry with her, so she decides to leave?
I mean, I think I've got a feeling that Talia is coming back, and that's going to be how it comes out. Kush will and it will be like Kush every time Kush has an opportunity to say something to Denise, something will put a spanner into it. Yeah, and so he can't say it. I mean, later in the week he also apologizes to Kim by buying her a big box of chocolates, and he, to be fair, he formally apologizes to her, but as he hugs Kim as well, he's still got this regret, this deep regret inside of him that he doesn't.
Box of chocolates all it takes for Kim.
Yeah, well, she likes her sweet stuff, doesn't she? Alcohol and sugar. That's Kim's therapy.
Don't blame her.
So it obviously probably will come out in the wash at some point, as Kush said. Everything comes out in the wash on the square.
It's such a shame they've done this. Like, they didn't even show Kush grieving for that long. It was like half a week last week. They showed him like a bit upset. I
think they were right to make Kush grieve. I think they're also right not to let Kush grieve for too long, because I think we've had that. We had that with Carmel, and we don't. I don't.
Like, why did it have to be with him sleeping with?
But
someone?
I know. But that's the thing, isn't it? That's every time someone needs to.
They could do something so much more interesting with him. Like, I don't know, what could they have done? Like,
but they could have actually done.
He could have like got obsessed with like working out or something, and like got overly obsessed with that to take his mind off it.
Like start taking drugs to make him bigger. And
something
stuff
like that. Yeah, something different or interesting, and that could worry Denise, and she knows he's going to spending time on his own, running all the time.
He's having anger spikes and losing his temper a lot more.
Boxing, and I don't know. Something different. I'm going to sleep with this random matron.
Yeah, I know, but that's what
came out of nowhere.
This conversation, I was talking to someone on Twitter doing it's a copy and paste storyline, isn't it? And it's just an easy way out. I mean, I wouldn't mind if they'd done a bit of a therapy route with him as well. Perhaps he started seeing the therapy that Carmel should have accepted at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because that would have been interesting. And also it may have opened up a few avenues for people watching to consider, when they do that action helpline at the end.
Yeah, grieving, not just sleeping with waitresses.
Yeah, there's more than one ways to grieve, Kush.
So I've just got a few comments on our Twitter.
Ooh.
So we have got at Bovary's Compliment. Bovary again, she's back.
We like you, don't we?
She says, Kush and Denise didn't have trouble, quotation marks. Kush was grieving for his brother for 2.5 episodes, was drinking, and then slept with a girl. Denise was trying to support him through his grief. John York didn't give them enough time to have problems.
Well, she's right, but nothing we can say.
Nothing we can say.
No.
But it's just a good voice to have. We've got at Vince Charming 84, who says at BBC Eastenders. So he said this.
Oh, he's saying this directly. This is a proper poke.
I don't care how much you're grieving, Kush. This is not cool.
There you go.
It's not on. And at MissyBabes _ she says, Kush cheated on Denise. OMG. Just let them be happy, please, EastEnders. XX.
Well, that's never going to happen. No one's ever happy on EastEnders.
Why couldn't he have seen this as an opportunity to get the wedding sorted? He thinks, my brother's died, he's not here to see my wedding. Maybe I'll get everything sorted so my mum can see us get married and be happy.
Again, that means using something bad and putting a positive spin and making it proactive.
Yeah.
Well, that won't ever happen. That won't ever happen. It has to be something bad or something has to mature from it. I just think, as you said, it's put a bit of a
They're never going to get married now. Carmel's leaving. She's not going to come back from one episode for the wedding.
Oh, Denise will marry Kush. Look at her history. She married a murderer.
But they won't write it now because they won't be able to get Bonnie Langford back.
Yeah, she'll be back at some point.
For one episode.
And even if they do the wedding, they don't need Bonnie Langford. God,
yes, they do. Carmel would not miss Kush's wedding.
Dot didn't turn up to Shaquille's funeral.
Yeah, Carmel wouldn't miss a wedding of her baby.
Dot, Miss Religion UK 2018. She didn't turn up to a funeral. She loves a funeral. She turned up to...
She didn't go to Abby's funeral. Only her wake.
There you go. See? So if Dot
that's our Abby mention for this week done.
Well, there's another Abby mention later.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Long live Abby.
Oh, I don't know.
Yes. So we're going to go on to the next big storyline this week, which was Ian, Masood and Kathy, which there's months and months and months of us looking and waiting for Walford East to open, seeing where the Samosa storyline's going to go, where the Masood and Kathy love story's going to go, where the rivalry between Mass and Ian, it's all coming to a boiling point now.
That's it.
We've been waiting these months.
All these different storylines that people seem to maybe blink and you miss it because it really wasn't that interesting. Kind of came into this complex atom of of story, and it's finally exploded. The atom has split, and it has now come to this. Yeah, that's big hyping up. I feel.
There you go. Let's move on. So, it's fair to say that Ian's probably having a bad day.
Well, he's had a bad week, hasn't he? Because it started off with him a bit stressed because he had to organise. He felt like he had to organise everything for the Walford East opening. And
he had to organise a cake.
He had to organise a cake. There was a mouse now running around causing havoc in the restaurant.
A bird pooing in his cup.
But that was a bit later when he was asking God, why? why do I exist?
Mel's being horrible. It's all going on.
Well, Mel's not being horrible. Mel's just being snotty because he fired Hunter.
It's quite horrible. It's quite snide.
Yeah,
she's taken all the free meals, but not turned up to the opening.
Well, that's Mel, isn't it? She's Jack number. Well, she's perfect for Jack.
Well suited.
She's well suited for Jack. They're one of the.
So Monday sort of is like Ian's kind of his bad day ish.
Well, it's his first bad day because everything he tries to do seems to end up in failure. So, as I say, he's trying to organise the cake, and the cake arrives, and it's just got whatever he said written on the bottom of it. He's trying to organise the delivery. He's ordered the wrong meat. He hasn't bought halal meat. Because
he bought it from like an Italian restaurant or something.
And also he bought it cheap.
But he thought it was Indian, and then gave it to Masood to speak Indian. And
I think that was another delivery. And he couldn't understand the language, so he just thought it was Pakistani. So he just gave it to Masood, and as Masood called him an idiot because, as you say,
they're quite different. Accents,
they're quite different.
Language.
They're very different.
So I don't know what Ian's. The cake was quite funny.
The cake
was like one of those internet memes.
Yes, which I sometimes like to pull up and laugh at every now and then.
Because in a rush, Masood just said, "Oh, whatever Ian said, just write that on the cake."
Yeah.
What was it? It was written on the cake when it arrived.
Whatever he said.
There you go. Writes itself.
Yeah. Jane also phones, and that upsets Ian.
It's upset me.
Yeah, well, because she's not coming, is she?
No. I had so many hopes of her turning up.
She's got a new life. That's what she said. She's got a new life. And all this has kind of come to one big blow to Ian's ego, to his...
Oh, he went like 8 months not caring about Jane. Now all of a sudden he cares.
Yeah, well, I think I don't know, I would say it was ignorant bliss, but it wasn't really, was it? Because Jane had tried phoning him on a couple of occasions.
Maybe he just thought if I ignore it, it's not happening.
Well, no, because every time she phoned, it was every time Mel was chasing her, or he was chasing Mel. So he and to be fair, Mel hadn't said no to him yet at this point when Jane had phoned. But I think a little bit of him was a bit well, of course he was upset because Jane, who he had planned to run away and start a new life with, in Clacton or somewhere. I can't remember where. But and now
Clacton's the Beals' favourite holiday destination.
It is. We learnt that this week, didn't we? So Ian feels a bit of a failure because obviously all these things have happened today, and as he said, it ended with the bird poo in the mug.
Yeah, even Kim was like kicking when he was down, when he was shouting and all upset. Even she had a little comment to throw at him as well. So,
well, Kim has been trying to get this free meal that she won when they had the Slater's raffle. And Ian said it's at Bill, so it doesn't apply. But anyway, because he's just basically given up, he's basically been whittled down to submission by Kim, and now he's given her the free meal. Oh.
We also had little inklings of a romance between Kathy and Masood, like touching hands over the cake.
Well, it was the continue of the romance. It wasn't that it's just built.
It hasn't
from this
been
week.
like seen for a while.
Yeah, but it's always been there.
Bubbling.
Mass always gives longing looks to Kathy. Kathy always gives longing looks to... Kathy stood up for...
Forbidden love.
Kathy stood up for Maz when he said that Maz was a better meal a couple of weeks ago to Ian's, but don't tell Ian because he'll get upset, which later we now discover he really will get quite upset.
Being very childish.
He's being very childlike. And he does become childlike. He kind of goes, wee as he's running around the restaurant because he thinks things are slowly trying to slot into place now.
So we reached the opening day, and our favourite Walford Gazette reporter's there to document it all.
God, I hate her. They made the joke, and you knew straight away as soon as they said, "Oh, I've got press coming." The Walford, and they were, "Oh God, I wonder who's going to come." And Ian says, "Oh, I'm sure the Walford Gazette has more than one journalist." And so then, lo and behold, who should turn up? It's the journalist who was going on and on about the wheelchair access, which she has every right to go on about.
Yes.
But I think it's a bit presumptuous of her to believe that all of the Walford Gazette readers are interested in her wheelchair access. She always says, well, the readers will be very interested to know about the wheelchair access. It's like, will the readers be that interested to know about the wheelchair access?
But her articles are boring.
Oh, I bet she's like the editor-in-chief of the Walford Gazette. That's why...
She's always been there.
They probably haven't they probably still don't have a website. They probably still rely on the sales of the newspaper. The only newspaper in the country that probably still sells, like, by the bucket load. Everyone always references the Walford Gazette. But she was acting very smug, kind of every now and then listening to conversations, hearing people.
Because she heard the VIP area wasn't very popular with Kim.
Yeah.
And she sort of wrote that down as part of her notes.
Yeah.
And this is when he also got the text from Mel saying, can't make it.
Yeah, but he was fine by that. That was almost just swept under the carpet. That he just kind of walked into the kitchen and said, "Well, I should have expected it, really." And there was a small part of me that kind of felt relief that perhaps this was the final
do you think that's
end
it,
of the Mel. Well, I hope so. I think it's just silly that they're doing that, and now he's got something. He's got another storyline to kind of depend on now.
Yes.
This whole
poor Kath
love triangle, this corrupt love triangle of Ian, Mass and Kathy.
Yeah, because he witnesses both of them kiss each other the kitchen, and the little like windows open for everyone to look in while the argument's happening. And he starts throwing cake at Masood.
Well, I don't think anyone noticed it actually. I don't think
the window was open.
Yeah, but I don't think anyone really noticed.
Well, the woman from Gazette noticed because she said, "Get in there."
Oh, did she?
Yeah, she said, "Get in there quick."
Oh, to the photographer. Yeah, the photographer who was late.
Yeah, he took all those photos, didn't he?
Yeah, the photographer was late. The readers won't like that. So the photographer comes in, takes some very good photos.
Action shots.
Must say, they were almost posed for the Walford Gazette. And everyone is basically Ian and Mass and Kathy are now the laughing stocks of the square.
Mainly Ian.
Yeah, because Ian's always seen as a bit of an easier target because he takes things to heart much easier, while Mass and Kathy have just kind of said, "Oh yeah, ha ha ha." But they even say this. They even say to Ian, we're all in this together, so we're all being laughed at. Just forget it. We're still, publicity is publicity. We're still going to be in the newspaper, so let's just.
No news is bad news or good news or whatever it is. No, what's the word?
Oscar Wilde, actually, he says, he used to say, there is only one thing that is worse than being talked about, and that is not being talked about. So he's right. There you go. Need to be
everyone's talking about it.
That's That was the old slogan of Eastenders. Everyone's talking about it.
Yes, that's right. Ian is becoming quite ridiculous now.
I mean, okay, fine. Yes, he's being childish. Yes, he's being a bit silly, but he brings up some decent points. By this point, like when Mass and Kathy are trying to explain, they can't really understand why Ian is getting so upset. But I mean, let's put this into some kind of perspective here. Kathy had left thought as being dead when she faked her own death.
Yes.
Ian then had no mother in some of the most difficult
For like 10
times.
years.
Yeah, and some of the most difficult times in his life on the square. His daughter died. He was sent to prison. He ran away from home, went homeless. All these things. He's. To be fair to Ian Beale, he's a very, very damaged man, and he's quite fragile. So I'm sorry, but I have to say that Ian has a point. He's now got his mother back. His mother promised that she would never leave him.
She's not leaving him. She kissed someone.
Yeah, but then she's going to start a relationship and her thoughts and her motivation is going to be seen elsewhere. I'm not saying that Kathy needs to be, his mother and mothering him all the time, but at the same time, you can understand why Ian feels a little bit distressed that he's...
But on the other side, on Kathy's side,
yes.
I'm Team Kathy.
Yes.
For her storyline, she said she didn't willingly go. It was Gavin that made her. Gavin controlled her. So it wasn't really her choice. And that's why she came back, because she finally got the strength to say no to Gavin and get away from him.
No, I know. Yes. Yeah, whether she got the strength from Phil funding it.
And also, Ian has gone through all these years and he's thought his mum was dead and he's grieved for his mum, always wanted her back. He's got her back now, so you think he'd be a bit more grateful. He's got a second chance. Yeah,
but that's what he's upset about. He's got this second chance and now he's lost. He feels like he's losing this second chance again. He's lost his mother again.
He's gone back into like a childlike state.
He's gone
almost
very
like Tina.
Yeah. Maybe him and Tina should get together. He has. He's turned into a child again. But he feels like he's got no support. That's the other thing. He's like, he knows that the square laugh at him, and he's constantly trying to show everyone that he is better than that. And so, like, he's built these businesses, and he's maybe been knocked down, but he's rebuilt them again. And he knows business, and he knows, and he's got this arrogance. But the one person he's let into his life and trusted back into his life was Kathy. He then started to let Masood into his life and trust him.
Did he?
He did, to the point that they were probably a very loosely based friends. And now they're both betrayed him. Like at one point he even said to Kathy that he thinks Masood's doing it deliberately to wind him up. So he's always thinks, you gotta feel sorry for Ian Beale in a way. He always thinks that he's this joke.
Someone's out to get him.
Yeah, and he always thinks he's a joke. And it's a horrible situation that the one person he feels like isn't laughing at him is now lying behind his back too. So if you're going to look at it that way, you can kind of get where Ian's coming from.
I guess. But I mean, Ian says all this to Kathy, and she basically answers back every time, doesn't she? She's not sticking down. She thinks she's perfectly in the right.
Yeah,
with all these things,
but she does. But and again, it's something Ian points out to her,
because he tells her to pack up and move out, and then she stays at the Vic.
Yeah, again, I didn't realise that Kathy was such good friends with the Carters and Shirley. That surprised me. I mean, maybe they just wanted.
Well, Kathy got a surprise in the morning, as we all did on the opening shot.
I know. My goodness me, Danny Dyer.
I mean, Twitter went a bit crazy when that happened.
There was a lot of those purple aubergine emojis popping out.
Aubergine Friday. So she thinks it's a bit ridiculous that this 70-year-old woman's sleeping on the sofa here. So she needs to get sorted. I mean, at the same time, Ian has packed up Kathy's Kathy sign.
Yes, but that's not his.
The flickering.
Reminded.
I mean, that's been flickering for a while, so it has been on its way out.
No, she got it fixed by Ben, didn't she, before he left?
Oh, yeah. It flickered every time Wilmot Brown walked past it.
Yeah. It's like he's got some kind of special power. Like he radiates like a certain spike in power.
But I can't. I'm shocked that you're on Ian's side. He's being where he's put a line across the kitchen.
Oh no, that's
ridiculous.
That's stupid. Oh, don't get me wrong. Everything he's doing is stupid.
And he tries to cut Kathy out of the cafe, and then she takes away all his customers and says, "Go home with your pack of bags." In
her posh voice. Ladies and gentlemen.
One thing I didn't understand is Kathy said that cafe is all hers, 100% hers.
It is hers.
How? She's dead.
Did
he give it to her?
I think Ian gave it to her as a kind of thank God you're back kind of gesture.
Work in the cafe.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Okay, so it is. Do you think it is hers?
I think it is Kathy's, okay. But to be fair, she doesn't work there the most as well. She's there 24/7.
That's true.
Whenever she's asking for help, Ian's always off doing something.
And towards the end of the week, we had really nice scenes with Kathy and Ian, showing their acting range. I noticed that Ian, mid-sentences, kept going... Did you notice that? He was holding back the tears.
Yeah. He wobbled a few... he wobbled a few times, didn't he? And there was someone on Twitter... I think it was at Walford East, they said that he says mama at one point, and I thought that he didn't say mama, he said mum, but his lip wobbled, so he said afterwards. So it sounded like mama, but he may have said it purposefully,
possibly.
But yeah, Adam Woodyatt was very good. Those scenes, you could tell it was genuine, it was true, and they have worked together over, for a long
really
time.
Young. Must be really weird.
So they must almost see each other's family as well.
But it was quite nice because they brought up quite a few things from the past. They put up Cindy and how she'd never agreed with his relationships and how he'd never agreed with hers with Phil. And it was nice that he was actually talking to Kathy about her coming back from the dead, because it's kind of been like swept under the rug and not talked about. It's
brought up when they need to,
but normally it's brought up as like similar. A comedic thing, like when Kat returned, she made fun of her.
But that's what I mean. So something similar is comparable. So it's actually, like, hey, and you can't judge us because your mum came back from the dead. So
it's quite nice that they actually used it as a proper emotional thing, because if that really did happen, it would be quite a thing that you'd have to get over and talk through.
Well, you'd have to, like you said, he grieved for his mum. He got over that she died, and then she returned. So
I thought it was quite nice that they talked about that, and they talked about how when she returned, she said she'd always be there for her and Ben and stuff.
Yeah,
which Ben mentioned.
But also that's a point actually you just brought up. She said she'd be there for her, for him and Ben, and Ben's not there. No. So maybe she feels like her work's done.
That's the trouble with Kathy. I think they need to bring Ben back to give Kathy like another something on the square. Well, she's quite on her own, isn't she?
We discussed this when we did the Kate Oates conversation. Actually, it may not have been in our podcast. It might have been the one we did with Custard TV. But we agree that maybe the Bills need to be built back up again from the ground up.
Build up the Bills.
Build the Bills.
Hashtag build up the Bills.
There you go.
Yeah, I think they need to, because they're the original family.
They are the original family.
A few of them have died within the past few years. Ben, not really a Bill, but linked to Kathy.
But also he's linked to the Mitchells. Counts, so he's a really good character to bring back.
So they need to. Bring back Cindy Jr.
Yeah, I liked her.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah.
Peter can come back, maybe a different actor.
Yeah.
Ben Hardy's
but not with Lauren.
No, please.
God, no. No. Yeah, bring her. Oh, but I mean, you and I, though, we're pretty bad. We're watching the classic episodes of EastEnders, and every time a character comes on, we're like, oh, they should bring him back. Or they should bring the kid of them back.
They're all dead.
No, they're not all dead.
Well, a lot of them are. From the early
Who's the one who's having the affair with Den's wife?
The
builder guy,
carpenter.
Yeah, the carpenter.
I can't remember his name. Something Carpenter. His name is.
Yeah, his surname's Carpenter, isn't it? Yeah, they should. I want them to bring him back.
When I was watching that, and I thought, oh, Angie's dead. It's like, does Angie have any family that can come back with Sharon?
Oh, I'd love that.
Well, I don't know if she has any family. Don't know anything about the Watts.
The aunt?
No, she's not.
No, she wouldn't be a Watt.
Or whatever Angie was. Yeah. But I don't think they've gone into that history.
They could have Angie's sister or something.
Elderly sister.
Because we were saying that obviously Angie died of dementia off screen
and
from alcoholism, and Sharon. Just saying, she's on a rocky path.
I've missed Sharon this week. I mean, that's another thing. This whole Keanu Sharon thing has disappeared.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why they've not kept that going, because that's been a really good storyline. That was fun.
So messy. Yes, I mean, let's just wind up. We've just got a few comments on Twitter. Are you ready for this? At Maria 132 416 989.
Do you think that's her national insurance number?
Possibly. Or her age.
Oh, wow.
In minutes. She says, Ian needs to grow up. Just because he can't keep a woman doesn't give him the right to tell Kathy she can't have a relationship. Maria.
You got to
say it how it is.
Is she?
This one's from Dot Cotton. At Dot Cotton 914 21271. There you go. So this is Dot. This is one of those accounts where they pretend to be a character on EastEnders.
I presumed it wasn't the Dot Cotton. She's gone missing, Dot Cotton.
Well, she's on Twitter. She says, what a bleep choice Kathy had tonight. Stay loyal to her bitter son Ian, or betray him for a short-term bit-on-the-side affair with Masood before he cheats on her.
Oh, no, I have to say, I'm sorry, at Dot Cotton, blah, 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 but Masood, he's been known to have affairs with married women, but I don't think he's ever actively cheated.
He's not a very good Muslim boy, though. He's been said that. He gambles and drinks.
He's a terrible Muslim.
Has affairs.
And he goes around preaching the faith to, well...
I'm surprised, think about this actually, I'm surprised that Ian didn't bring up to Kathy that Masood had an affair with Jane, his ex-wife.
That's what I'm saying. So,
Yeah. He
But
should have brought that up in the argument. That would shut her up.
he did bring up...
Although I'm Team Kathy. So.
Yeah, he did bring up that their religions are... She's Christian and he's a Muslim. And so
well, the aunt and uncle won't like that.
the aunts and uncles won't like it. And she celebrates Christmas and he doesn't. And that she can eat pork. So he did bring that up, which is, that would sway me, maybe.
Yeah, you got to think of it.
Think about bacon.
And our last one is at Daniel Bavis. He says, brilliant scenes with Kathy and Ian. Having not watched Kathy pre-death, I'm not sure whether Ian is just projecting his, understandable, abandonment issues when he labelled her as only caring about no one but herself. She has no life outside of his businesses.
I mean, he says the line that Pete says, which is that she only cares for herself.
Well, that annoyed me as well.
That's a line, though. That's a true line.
I know, but Pete feels really horrible, and Kathy's really supportive of Ian in the olden days.
Well, no, that's true. They used to have...
So it really annoyed me that. It's like, shut up, Ian. Your dad was horrible to you, and Kathy always stood up for you, and now you're saying that she...
Well, Pete never wanted him to be doing catering, did he?
And she was like, yeah, do it, Ian, you should. She was always supportive, and he's now... 30 years later going, you only think about yourself.
My dad was more supportive
than
than you.
It's like, no, he wasn't.
No.
But obviously the writers have forgotten this. So.
Yes, but they didn't forget the actual line that Pete said, so they referenced it.
Yeah.
They did well. Anyway, so we're going to go and have a look back at some past character.
Ooh.
Just do this now.
So it's another week, and it's another stroll down memory lane when we dust off the history books and delve into a character from the archives. This week you had better hide your teaspoons and tell the printers we don't want those balloons after all, as we are going back to the past and looking into the history of the former fiancée of Philip Mitchell, Stella Crawford, played by Sophie Thompson from the 7th of September 2006 until her death on the 23rd of July 2007. So Stella Crawford was introduced to the soap as the new love interest of Phil Mitchell, who had just joined the soap after a break from the show. That's Phil. He had a little bit of a break, so they gave him a love interest storyline when he came back. That and a new son, Ben.
Yeah.
Because this was just when they found out that...
This was original Ben, isn't it?
This is not the original
No, but
Ben. This was incarnation number 3,
yeah,
which is... the famous lady...
baby and not really a character.
Yeah, Lady Gaga dancing, Ben. The producers wanted to perceive a front for a character which is very unlike a woman Phil would be attracted to. But little did he know the trouble his son Ben would be in after he came to the square from living in South Africa after his mother Kathy had died with her husband Gavin. Just talking about that, weren't we? They met as a recommendation from the Mitchell solicitor Richie for help with Ben's inheritance. Soon Stella and Phil started dating, which at first Ben wasn't very happy about. On Christmas Day, egged on by Abby Branning, he put a whoopee cushion on Stella's chair in front of a full Queen Vic. All the patrons laughed, which upset Stella. Later in February, while visiting a haunted house, Ben apologised for the Christmas incident, which
Visiting a haunted house.
That's what you do in February.
Is it like an actual haunted house?
I think it's meant to be Madame Two Swords, but it's not Madame Two Swords.
Right.
Wink. I think that's what the scenario was meant to be.
But that scared Ben.
Ben apologised for the Christmas incident, which Stella claims to have forgotten all about. However, while they get deeper into the house, Stella deliberately holds back from Ben, watching him shouting, frightened, and calling her name from behind a wall. She deliberately doesn't reunite with him until he's almost crying, beginning Stella's abusive torment on Ben.
So this whole storyline of her being abusive is because he embarrassed her once with that whoopee cushion. That's where it stems from.
It's that, and also it's almost to get power on him because she's trying to mould Ben into like the child that Phil Mitchell had always wanted.
Good luck.
The male Mitchell.
Kathy had brought him up for 6 years. We're all supportive, so...
Well, he was running... A lot of things was wrong with Ben in Phil's mind. He had to wear the glasses. He had a hearing aid. He was a bit wet. He was a bit wet.
Oh. Yeah.
No, he didn't turn up from the plane soaking in water. I mean, character, he was a bit wet.
Right.
Did you think that's what I meant? It had rained in South Africa when he arrived. After Stella promises not to mention the incident to his father, Ben starts to entrust Stella, and she starts to manipulate Ben, making Phil think that he is the son that he would want him to be.
What a lovely thing to do.
I know, see? Stella got this
She's
bad
nice,
rep.
really.
Yeah, she burnt him with a teaspoon, but she did it for his own good. One night, Stella tells Ben that he is cruel to his dad, and Phil isn't proud of him because of all he does is sulk. Stella continues on her bullying by insisting that he whines like a little girl and he should wear pink ribbons in his hair.
He'll regret saying that.
Well, yes. She later teaches him that when she feels hurt, she should be allowed to pinch him hard on his arms. Bruises that Ben's brother Ian later discovers and he calls Stella out on. But again, after Stella stares at him viciously, he turns the story around and denies it. Dear, poor Ben. What a situation to be in, eh?
End up a murderer one day.
He very well might. Stella enjoys the powers that she has over Ben and ultimately the attention she is getting from Phil as she pulls Ben in line. Before the wedding of Stella and Phil, Peggy tells Stella that she has invited her parents. This horrifies Stella and the audience start to learn that she was an unwanted child and her parents would always try to embarrass her. On the wedding day between Stella and Phil, Stella threatens to kill Ben in his sleep if he complains to his dad about Stella and not wanting her as his new mum. During the ceremony, Ben finally stands up to Stella and shouts in the middle of the ceremony, begging for someone to help him. While Phil takes Ben away to talk to him privately, Stella asks the minister if she's married yet. I don't know why she does that. I don't know if she thinks that if they're married, then
She gets half the money, I guess.
I don't think it's about money for her, though. I think well, you'll see. Stella goes on the run to an abandoned industrial estate while Phil chases her and Peggy instructs him to make her pay. During a confrontation with Phil, Stella insists that she and Ben were friends and the reason she did it was all for Phil and it really wasn't her fault but his. This winds up Phil and he chases her to the roof of a warehouse. Stella begs Phil to tell her that he loves her, even reasoning that if he does, she would let him strangle her. But Phil doesn't play Stella's game and tells her that she is easy and safe and he just wanted a wife for 30 years. Learning something Stella already knew ate her up inside and after saying to Phil, "Watch her daddy," referencing her abandonment from the people she thought she loved, she jumps off the roof and commits suicide. Sad demise, really, for Stella.
I didn't know it was on top of a warehouse. I thought it was on top of where they were getting married. Oh.
No, he chases her to like this
Right.
abandoned
I thought it was like the top of like the big place where they were getting married.
It wasn't even that high, really, the fall. Might have survived it if she had landed a bit better.
Abby didn't survive, so Stella can't. Lauren survived.
Yeah, but Abby landed smack on the concrete. Perhaps on the curb, making it even more awkward, cutting her spine. But Stella landed on a car, their wedding car.
Oh. That's what happened to Gavin's sister. She landed on a car off a mansion roof.
Think about
That's the way they go.
But I think it's just easier to because if you
film,
watch, you watch it,
you
see the car wobble and then the camera panned up. So she was obviously just laying there waiting for the camera to, and so, like, one of the runners kind of just went wobble, wobble the car.
Yeah. One of the most horrible soap deaths ever, if you try and find it online, is on an episode of Hollyoaks. It's probably a later episode because it's really gross, and they're parachuting.
You've told me about this before.
And it's like it's a couple and another girl, and the other girl fancies her, so she swaps the parachutes and tampers with one, so the one that she loves girlfriend is meant to die, but the one that she loves has the parachute that doesn't open.
Oh no!
And they film they have 5 seconds just looking at a field, and you see the body come down and go splat. It's really gross.
Is it?
And they film the whole thing of her screaming not to be able to open the parachute. It's really horrible. You have to look it up online.
Oh, I might after this.
Yeah.
They're only meant to be knocked unconscious if you fall a really long way down. So it's meant to be fairly
that's what they
painless.
say, but you don't really know unless it's happening to you, do you, I guess? I mean, no one's ever been able to
well, no, that's true.
to say.
Well,
it's probably something that people say to make you feel better if you know someone that's
if you
done
fall
it.
out of plane.
No, but if you know someone who's done it, they'll be like, oh, they didn't feel it, they were unconscious.
It's a bit the same with suffocation, isn't it? They say that if you drown, you don't know you drowned.
It's like euphoria.
Yeah,
because your brain's going. But
yeah, something in your brain kind of lets off a drug.
Yeah, that's one of the most horrible. So that's probably why they don't show it anymore. Because that's stuck in my mind ever since.
You never know, they might do Hollyoaks Classic on E4 soon.
Classic. Yeah. So we've been going for 12 years. No, it's been going for
longer than that now.
I'm old. But anyway, what's Stella been up to?
Well, Stella's dead.
Well, yeah, but in spirit.
Yeah. But I can tell you...
She's got a famous sister.
She does. I can tell you what Sophie Thompson has been up to. You probably guess her sister is Emma Thompson. So after EastEnders, she did some TV work. She worked on Doc Martin and Poirot on ITV. She played Angela in Death in Paradise, Inside Number 9, and she was on A Gert Lush Christmas, which is your favourite comedian.
Oh, forgot about Dwashi.
Yeah, the pilot. Remember you did the pilot?
Yes.
Nothing came
But
of it.
afterwards they said it wasn't a pilot, it was just a Christmas special.
No, it was a pilot. That was a pilot.
Russell Howard wrote, directed and
starred. Yeah. I have to say, no offense to Russell Howard, because I think he's great, and we've seen him live, but I think
he's less great since watching Taskmaster, but that's another subject.
That's true. He was a bit grumpy, wasn't he? She also has a recurring role on Coronation Street now. So she's...
Well, hasn't she just left Corrie?
She's just left
or about to leave.
She plays a fortune teller called Rosemary Piper.
Oh, yeah, I remember seeing that. I thought it was stupid.
But you never know, she might come back to any fans of Coronation Street. She, who was she trying to fool? She was trying to fool
that old woman,
Audrey.
I don't know what her name is.
Audrey.
Who has a hairdresser.
Yeah, Audrey. Yeah. She's not the only hairdresser in town now, though, is she? The young
I don't
buck.
understand Coronation Street.
I
watch 15 minutes a week, like waiting for EastEnders to start on a Friday.
It's a bit of a buffer.
And I just don't understand any of it. So I can't, there's too many characters.
Too much.
There's like new characters every week that I've never seen before.
Well, you do
just
say
turn
that.
up.
Like I'm out of the room and I just hear you shouting, "Who's this?"
It's really
Who's
weird.
this?
There's so many people.
Yeah, but if you watched it a bit more, it's like EastEnders.
Sure, there is a lot of characters on Coronation Street.
Wow.
And all the women look the same as well. Like their hair and makeup is all done the same. Like Kim Marsh and that other woman who used to be on the Daz adverts, who owns a factory now.
She used to be in Daz adverts.
Yeah, she used to be on her and Buster were on Daz adverts. Where you know when it pretended to be a soap?
Yeah,
Because it was a soap.
Yeah.
They played two people who pretended to be on a soap. He pretended to be like a Phil Mitchell character. And then he ended up on a soap.
No,
and
the guy who plays Buster, in EastEnders, he used to be the guy who used to do the doorstep challenge because Shane Ritchie did it.
But he also did Daz adverts.
Yeah, but that was the Daz adverts before they did the fake soap.
Yeah, well, he did that as well because
Yeah.
he was like the Phil Mitchell.
Oh
character
no, he
'cause
did the
was
Flash
bold.
adverts.
Oh, was it Flash?
Yes,
it was
the guy who played Buster did the Flash adverts, and Shane Ritchie, and I forget. There's a radio presenter. They did the Daz adverts, and it was the doorstep challenge. They knock on the door and say, "Oh, do you want to try this Daz? See what your laundry."
Well, whatever it was, there was one because it was a washing soap.
Yeah,
they said it was a soap, and they had like a fake soap, and she was in that.
I think they sponsored Emmerdale for a short time as well.
Possibly.
Anyway, we're really going off the kill here. So Sophie was also in some films. Eat, Pray, Love, where she played Corella in 2010. She was in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. I do remember her actually in that. She was I think she was wizard, one of the wizards in like the
in the what?
Dark
side.
I'm not that much of a fan of Harry Potter, but I have seen all the films. That's my claim to fame. That's all I know.
Well, she's in that. She's got money for life then. Royalties coming in.
Making money from that. And she was also in a film called That Day We Sung, where she played Dorothy in 2014. Now, she has been doing a lot of theatre after EastEnders 2. She won the Theatre Goers' Choice Award when a London production of The Female of the Species. She also gained 2 Olivier Awards after EastEnders, with the Royal London Court Theatre as Bev and Kathy in Clybourne Park, and Miss Adelaide in the Guy and Dolls tour. Now, she's currently playing Lady Bracknell in the production of The Importance of Being Earnest at the Vanderveer Theatre in London, where she's just gained her 6th Olivier nomination for Best Actress in a Musical. 6th. That's pretty impressive, isn't it? Now, there's 2 ways you can actually watch this. They're performing it at the Vanderveer Theatre in London, as I say. To get tickets, you can go to www.nimaxtheatres.com. That's NIMAX.com. It's playing until Saturday the 20th of October. However, if you can't get into London, they're actually doing a special live recording and broadcasting it to a handful of cinemas around the UK. Now, if you go to oscarwildecinema.com or more to screen, 2 is in the number 2, screen.com, you can book tickets, and there's loads of cinemas around the UK, View Cinemas, they're playing it, and it's on Tuesday the 9th of October at 7:15pm. So that's another way of getting involved and watching it.
Either.
Don't need to go to the theatre. You can get yourself a nice
Go in your joggers.
Go in your joggers. You don't need to get those little binoculars, so if you're sitting far away, you can look down, get a nice tub of popcorn, and you're set for life. All the links will be obviously on the show notes. You can also follow Sophie at Soph Tompo, that's SOPHTHOMPO on Twitter.
Sorry, what? Say that 3 times in a row.
I don't want the money, Mr. Murray. That's a tongue twister. You can also find other links to other Twitter accounts which link to her performance in the importance of being earnest.
Can I just say, I was just thinking when you're saying that, I'm casting director at the moment. She would be really good if she was cast in a remake of What Happened to Baby Jane as like the crazy sister. Wouldn't she?
Oh, yeah, she really would.
Like a role would suit her. That.
I wonder if they'd do a theatre version of that. She would be excellent.
Wouldn't she?
Yeah, really good. Oh, I like
Something
that.
to think about.
Maybe we should tweet it and suggest it. Be a nice idea. And that was this week's I'm Doing This Now.
Just do this now.
Well, there you go. So we're going on to another one of these storylines. It's been running along the samosa storyline, the chess storyline.
The samosa storyline?
Well, the samosa, Ian, Masood fighting.
God, that's going right back. That is the samosas.
That's linked to this Walford East, because that's how they got together. So it's all coming to a head. The chess is, I think... Do you think it's coming to an end now?
No.
No,
I don't. I think it will continue.
I mean, we have the mystery this week of whether a certain character is dead or not as well. Very exciting.
All right.
You forget who? Was it that boring? Ted? Remember Ted?
Yeah, but Ted's not dead.
Isn't he?
Well,
he's on the floor face down. Anyway, how did he get there?
Yes.
Quite the trip kind of the trip this week. He's been having like little chest pains and he's been looking a bit pale this week. People keep commenting.
Keep saying he looks a bit white.
Bernie says he looks a bit funny. A bit.
Not quite right.
She keeps playing that bloody song as well.
Teenager in Love. I think the episode opened twice this week with Ted dancing to A Teenager in Love.
Yes. I hate this. I just hate the Joyce storyline. Come to an
From
end.
the grave, Joyce is still winding you up.
So, like the beginning of the week, he has this last letter, doesn't he, that her friend gave him.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to open it.
And he like tries to burn it.
He tries to burn it on an electric hob, which, genius.
Yeah, and then he won't let Bernie in, and to let her in, and she goes, "This is my ringtone to remember you," and it's that song.
I mean, I've never seen like it being a bit. I've never really seen it being creepy between Ted and Bernie until that moment.
Really? I don't know.
I thought that was a bit weird. Like she was so happy that she had this song from the 1960s downloaded on her mobile phone.
But that changed Ted's mind, so he decided to take it off the hob with a little burn mark and read it. Now this has so many issues for me. This letter and what's in the letter.
Well, it's like they decided this letter is going to explain everything, but then somehow bring up more questions.
So stupid. So the letter basically says that Joyce, knew she was ill and she'd been to the doctors.
With chest pains.
Chest problems. But she didn't want to tell anyone or tell Ted because it'd be a bother. I don't want to be a bother.
She doesn't want to be a bother.
She was off running up to bingo a week before she died, so she wasn't that upset, was she? You remember that?
Yes.
Was that when her one line when she had that funny line?
When she was at the door and she was...
I'm off to bingo. So apparently she had this issue, which, first of all, surely when she died in her sleep of natural causes, on the post-mortem would have said, well, she has this issue, she's been to the doctor recently of heart issues.
Did they ever, you've brought this up before, did they ever say what she died of?
Yes, they said she died in her sleep. But Ted
would have... Heart attack
Ted would have...
Stroke?
They would have told Ted all of this happened and she'd been to the doctor.
But obviously Ted's kept it to himself.
No, he didn't know. Because he'd read this letter, he was surprised as Bernie was.
Well, then that's true. The doctor should have said something to him, yes.
Yeah, and also, the next thing that is really, really stupid is the fact she bought a ticket to Australia.
It must have been an open ticket, which is damn expensive.
You can't buy that.
You can buy open tickets. I don't know whether you can to Australia.
She did all this not knowing she was going to die. So she could have died in like 8 years' time. So an open ticket wouldn't have lasted that long.
That's true. It would have had an expiry time.
They both didn't have any money to go to Australia anyway. That's why Patrick pushed £3,000 through his door.
Yeah, but she might have been saving a few pennies here.
She was doing money.
She was doing odd jobs for people. Maybe they were paying her £5 here.
Maybe half a shilling.
Maybe she was organising game nights at the community centre. You know how she liked a parlour game, Ben.
Well, it's stupid because now when she actually did die, she could have left some money for her funeral. She didn't leave any money for that.
That's true. That's a bit of a horrible thing to do.
Instead, she just spent it on a random ticket to Australia, which might not even be used. It's so stupid.
Okay, but that's why I said that...
That's just Monday.
That's why I said that a lot more questions came up which probably will never be
It's
answered.
silly.
We'll never have the answer to these questions. So, in a way, I would just play a bit ignorant.
No.
Do a Keanu and pretend nothing's happening.
No.
Nothing's happening.
So, yeah, all that's going on. So he's pale and he keeps having like twinges in his heart, but he doesn't want to go to the doctors.
But then Sonia spots him.
Nurse Sonia.
Nurse Sonia tells him to go to the doctors, can't get an appointment.
She kind of makes him.
And then she goes to A&E. And she says, which I must say I very much enjoyed her line of overstretched and understaffed, but it's still free. I just imagine like the NHS logo to appear in the corner like after she said that, and a phone number underneath. Call your local surgery.
She always has this issue. She always says stuff like this about the NHS, doesn't she?
Well,
Every now and then.
She's a nurse who worked privately for 5 years, so she loves the NHS.
Whatever happened to that inheritance money she got from that old woman from Cogner? Where did she go? Crogner?
Crogner? I don't know.
It was some weird place she went, didn't she? Whatever happened to all that money of that dying woman that gave her?
Gave her to Bex to buy a new guitar.
Do you remember when her and Robbie were going to buy that like upmarket apartment together with all the money?
I don't remember that. I remember the holiday she was booking with Martin. Maybe that was where the money went.
Maybe. So another thing that was annoying is that he came home and said there's nothing wrong to Sonia and Bernie, but he had like all these leaflets and all these pills for
angina.
That should be his next wife. Angina Murray. So how did he get these pills and not let Sonia see?
Again, some hospitals have their own chemist internally.
Yeah, Sonia was literally sat by the door waiting. Like, she was probably listening in on the door.
Not necessarily.
He wouldn't have been able to go out of the doctors and go to the pharmacy and get the pills without Sonia seeing.
Maybe he did.
Sonia wouldn't blink and miss anything, would she?
No, don't get me wrong,
So
you're right.
annoying.
Sonia doesn't miss a thing, but on this occasion, Sonia had
a nap.
I'm trying to defend this very...
I don't like it.
What do they call it? The plot holes. I'm trying to defend them.
Yeah, it would have been better just if not just write something else.
Would have been better if maybe he'd gone on his... Because Bernie came running into the A&E as well, didn't she? And she was like, Mr. Murray, you all right? And he actually looked up and went, oh, what's she doing here?
Or it could have been better if before Joyce died, we saw some of this. Like her going to a secret meeting at the doctor's, but you never found out what it was. Or something to actually hint that any of this could have happened. Or her talking to that weird friend of hers, Joni, saying, oh, and like giving her the letter and say, oh, can you just keep hold of this? Like just a few scenes, like one or two scenes to plan up to this. It would have made so much more sense.
So give a bit of background information.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have...
Because Joyce wasn't seen for like months and then she died.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And also...
Like Shaquille.
And they could have maybe plastered over the cracks a little bit, maybe by just saying from the beginning that Patrick and Bernie had the initial letter, rather than hide it in a bottle and have them find it. Because then that would have maybe explained it a little better.
Or like her will reading, it would be like, oh, she's left this letter to Patrick, or something like that.
But then Joyce must have said to Patrick and Bernie, when Ted's feeling especially down...
when I'm dead.
Yeah, well, after I've died.
Exactly, it doesn't make any sense.
Give him this message.
More questions you're bringing up now.
That's what I'm saying. There's been more questions than answers to this whole story, but I think we're not meant to question it any further. I think we're now worried about...
my job.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, we now go on to like the second half of the week where Ted's kind of accepting his fate. Well... He thinks he's moving to Australia, but do you think he does know he's going to... Is he having a Joyce moment?
Well, I think he's obviously been told by the doctors.
Joyce planned my death, so maybe I'll plan my death too.
Yeah, away from everyone and miserable. He obviously thinks he's going to die soon, and he tells Patrick after he's left money behind the bar, and they've all started questioning...
halfway tells him,
and they've all started questioning why he's left the money
halfway
there.
still wearing his woolly hat as well.
He is. He didn't seem very concerned about Stuart this week either. There was no kind of hint that he was looking at his phone or... He's basically told Patrick he's going to Australia, he's going to eat what he likes, he's going to drink when he likes, he's going to do what he likes, not that he does much more than...
And he might not come back.
And he might not come back, because he's going to die.
Yes. And he gives some money to Bernadette as well.
Yeah, so Karen's now Bernie's best friend, cooking her breakfast, buying her toys. Karen wants that money.
You would have thought Mitch would have given his... They don't seem to be too bothered about that £3,000 Mitch stole.
Well, Mitch messaged Keegan last week.
I know, and no one seems to care.
No. He's coming back, though. I think that's been deliberately planted.
Talking about him.
Yeah.
So, all of this is building up to Ted leaving to Australia. He's packing up everything in his house, getting more heart palpitations and taking little pills.
Indigestion, as he likes to tell everyone.
Yes, and then that leads up to Friday, where there's the big tournament, Walford tournament on chess. This one we actually get to see on screen because she's been to loads apparently.
She's had loads and won lots of medals as well. But
but this one's important.
This one's more important.
It's in Walford.
yeah. Walford's like
the big final is in Walford.
The centre of London, Walford.
And they brought back the posh boy from before.
Yes, which again I presume she's encountered plenty of times prior to this because he's meant to be this number one champion. So why?
Maybe they haven't gone up in the tournament rankings. Maybe they've just missed each other each time.
On the ladder, they've been on separate sides of the tournament.
Linked up.
But then if she makes it to the final, surely they must have met the final. But because they were in round one.
Know, will we?
Round one. They were getting rid of two of the best players in the world in round one.
Well, we'll never know because there was a few missed calls on Bernie's phone.
Yes.
Shame it was on silent because if it wasn't on silent, she would have known it was Mr. Murray because of the ringtone.
But then it's on silent because they're playing chess.
Well, yeah, I know. But I thought when I watched that, I thought, that ringtone must come into it. Maybe that's why, but no.
Did you hum "Teenager in Love" to yourself? While
I don't even know the song, even though I've heard it loads of times. I've blocked it out. And he leaves a voicemail of heavy breathing, which Keegan doesn't like.
Keegan thinks it's a bit creepy, but then
he's like, dirty old man.
But then hands it to Bernie. So I'm presuming he
Bernie
must have
knows.
said something.
She knows what the heavy breathing.
She heard the heavy breathing before.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, hang on.
I know this.
This sounds familiar. It's Ted.
It's Death. So they run back to his flat and knock the door through.
Yeah.
Did Karen kick it in or did Keegan?
I reckon Keegan used a bit of force. Although I hope he was careful because that wound on his side. Do you notice he keeps holding it?
He? What, still?
He keeps holding it. Yeah. Bruise. The stabbing wound.
No, he got stabbed in the neck.
Oh, then.
Didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Or was that Shaquille?
No, you're right. Shaquille got stabbed in the side.
Yeah.
How weird then. He always touches his side.
Maybe he's got an eternal bruising. I don't know. This is about Ted.
Yes, I'm sorry. Ted's dying.
So Ted's face down. He's phoned Bernadette four, five times and left a voicemail. Yeah. Do you think he phoned an ambulance in between those?
Of course he hasn't. Why would he do that? Why would he do something sensible? Something else we haven't mentioned, but something we must point out, is that his squeaky shoes are back. So you can
never
hear
to be heard again. When he walks fast, you can really hear it.
It's so funny. So yeah. So
do you think they didn't want to bother? They're like, we're writing you out, so we're not going to buy you a new clothes or shoes. Yeah, he's like, oh, these really hurt my feet though. No,
these orthopedic shoes.
You have to wear these for another week, and then you're out.
yeah.
But yeah. So is he dead? Is he alive?
I know. Well, that's the big cliffhanger
I'm asking,
question.
Is he dead or alive?
I think he's alive. But I'm really angry that he basically decides the whole week to kind of shun everyone and push everyone out of his life so he can go to Australia and live the best life he can live with his son until he dies. And then as soon as he needs a little bit of help, he then quickly calls people to get back into his life again. It's like, Ted, you made this decision. Phone an ambulance. Don't phone Bernie. No. And also in the chess tournament, he goes on about how Bernie needs to win more chess tournaments. Bernie needs to learn how to play chess better. Blah, 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 blah. That's kind of been the theme of the week. On the day of the chess tournament, oh, Bernie, I'm dying. Come save me.
I mean, on Twitter, I posted, is it a rule for one of the Murrays to have to die every time Bernie plays a chess game at Walford? Because last time she played this chess game, we all know what happened.
Yes.
That's when Joyce said to Ted, you go out and do the chess game with her, I'll have an early night. She died. Or a heart attack. Or natural causes. Depending on what you're looking at when the writing was. And now Bernie's got another chess one, and now he's possibly dead. So,
I mean, you know, Bernie's luck is not on her side for these chess tournaments.
I mean, a few people replied... At Big Bruv Listens, Big Brother fan account, they said it's a beep take. I'm not sure I can say that word, so I'll beep it out. Just let him go off to Australia to his family if he has to leave. So they're like, why kill him? Why don't you just let him go to Australia and not kill everyone?
Because he could come back.
Carmel, she's on Twitter.
Oh, is she?
Yep, Carmel. She says, chess is a killer game. So snappy. And then Dave at Dave Mackey says she bores them to death with her chess games. So that's why they always die, because it's so boring.
Well, yeah, but I don't want to be rude, but then the ones who die are never at the chess games.
The anticipation is too much for their hearts to take.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was not a lot of love lost for Ted's demise this week on Twitter, I noticed.
Yeah, Muppet2809 says Ted would have phoned an ambulance before Bernie, and he knew that the phones aren't allowed in chess tournament. Don't the writers have brains? Andy Jane said, it looks like the writers listened to Twitter over Ted, which is a shame. We need older people to be represented on the programme, and Christopher Timothy is a great actor.
No, he is a great actor. He's a very good actor. And you said this only last week, that there needs to be more
just better
representation
written.
But written better. And this isn't...
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind the Ted and Bernie storyline. In fact, I was kind of enjoyed it in the beginning.
It's quite sweet, but
I didn't like the way he kept pushing Joyce away, but...
I mean, before we move on to the next one, I just want to say... Fake Pam and Les, possibly both dead now. So, can real Pam and Les come back, please?
Quite, bring them back. I loved Pam and Les.
I know.
Again, another wasted opportunity with Les. Anyway, we have 2 shorter stories now. First one being Billy's love lust for Honey and Honey's love lust for the dentist.
Billy's like making a meal for Honey to try and
he's making a meal
her.
Indeed, yeah. He's making a meal wooing her.
And he like hurts her tooth. What does he do? Like
he chips her tooth because he leaves a pitted olive in this casserole. He only put 1 olive in the whole casserole, and Honey just so happened to bite into it and chip her tooth.
I'm surprised he didn't like put a ring in it.
No, yeah. Well, he did.
Stupid.
He wanted to give her a little gold honey pot necklace as well because her name's Honey.
Wow, this week a lot of people were very confused by Honey's name, Susan.
That's her real name, isn't it? I must admit, when I first heard it, I
forgot.
What? Who's Susan?
Yeah, because of Billy doing this to her tooth, she has to go to the dentist.
She does, but she can't get any appointments. This is mused over while she's drinking, complaining that she's got a really bad tooth whilst drinking a sugary chocolate milkshake.
Yeah, cold as well.
Cold,
sensitive,
which is not probably the best choice.
Yes, and Masood's uncle. What's his name? Ashad? I always forget his name. Ashad comes in and she says this and he says, someone that we looked after is a dentist. So why don't you go see him?
What a happy coincidence. So
Adam.
He does. So he's the only dentist in town who can squeeze her in. And she does turn up and she
new set. Dentist set.
I don't think it was a set. I think it was an actual proper surgery, yeah.
Oh.
I don't think they would have built a set.
I don't think that because it was like the proper chairs and everything. I should know.
You get... Yes, you should, having gone to the dentist so often. So when she's there, she is quite flustered, isn't she, meeting the new charming dentist?
Wouldn't you?
He's a nice-looking chap.
Better than Billy.
Oh, my goodness. A rock is better than Billy.
Yeah. I'm team Adam and Honey already.
I like Adam and Honey. And it gives... And
much better.
It's something we've both been moaning about.
We have, the honey problem.
The honey
I can't remember what we used to call it. The honey...
Honeygeddon?
I can't remember. Basically, our issue was that everything around Honey has to revolve around Billy. So
and for a short time, we did think that there was going to be a Jack Honey thing going on.
Yes.
But then that was erased.
Swiftly written
out. Quickly written out for favour of Mel. And and so she's now got this new love interest, which she's hiding from Billy. I mean, why is she hiding it from Billy? They are split up. She shouldn't feel... I know she said, I don't want to look at Billy's sad face. Quite right. No one wants to look at Billy's sad face
anyway, though.
Exactly. It's a it is, isn't it? It's a constant miserable face, is Billy's.
So he texted her. Did he take the number from the system?
From the appointment,
That's not
it?
very professional.
Well, Kim does question the professionalness of this
Who cares if you get free fill-ins for life?
Yeah, exactly. Who cares? You get free fill-ins.
I thought someone posted on Twitter saying, did Kim just say free fingers for life? They thought that's what she said to Honey.
Free fingers for life.
Very rude.
I know.
Or
but
it could be rude.
Yes.
Depends on your mind.
I was just thinking of chocolate fingers. That's any better.
Anyway, so she agrees to go on this date and she uses Kim as a way of saying, can I say to Billy I'm going out with you, but I'm really going on this secret date to a posh restaurant.
And Kim's on board. She's on it.
She likes it. She liked that, didn't she?
She likes romance. She likes to watch Love Bloom.
But obviously Billy does see Kim in the square.
This is when she's receiving her box of chocolates.
Yeah, so he knows that Honey has lied to him. So Honey goes...
No, sorry, she hasn't lied to him.
Oh, you know what I mean.
She has lied to him, but she... But
they're not together, so who cares?
She's done it to soften Billy's...
she's done it out of kindness, really.
Yeah, she's kind of... For that reason. But anyway, the date begins.
Yeah, posh restaurant.
Snotty
Honey for the past few weeks has been very snotty about everything. Everything has to be amazing. Goes to this posh restaurant. Apparently she's not that comfortable
She's
there.
gone back to being really modest.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't understand.
I thought that would be right up her street.
Knocked her right down a few pegs.
In her new red dress. 60s inspired. 60s
like,
housewife.
like her hair.
Just like her.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, she's not that comfortable at this posh restaurant. And obviously, she probably thought that this is like normal for him because he's such a hunky modern dentist.
Making money, making the mullah. He snaps his fingers, a waiter comes over. That's what he has to do.
But he's still down to earth, isn't he, really? He says,
He's a nice guy.
we'll just eat here then on this little tiny table.
I've got
one knife and fork.
I've got a horrible feeling that this is going to turn into... Obviously, the storyline at the minute is Billy's going to be jealous and upset and he's going to carry on trying to get Honey. But I think ultimately Honey and the dentist are going to be together and I think the dentist is going to be evil.
Oh, you do think he's going to be evil?
Oh, yeah. I think
because we did think about that when we were talking about it the other week, weren't we? About what the dentist could do. But yeah, I was thinking like it's going to be something like Billy's going to warn her because he sees something.
Maybe
and she'll be like, no, you're just being jealous, Billy. And then it will all come to a head and Billy will be the one to save the day and out him as an evil dentist.
No, I don't want that. I don't want that to happen either.
No, but I imagine that's what will.
I do want a bit of Honey abuse. I think there's more to him and meets the eye, and he's got this really calm demeanour. And normally when someone's got this calm kind of demeanour, it normally is a warning sign immediately on a soap that they're going to be something more to it.
Well, I did say when we were theorising about this a few weeks ago when it was announced he was joining, I said, will he be the evil dentist and get someone in the chair and not knock them out properly and hurt them?
Do you think Adam will have a few problems with her daughter also when they first meet? Or
No.
You don't think that's going to be maybe a thing?
No, he might just be a nice guy. You don't know he's going to be evil. He was brought up by the Massouds and they're good people.
Yeah, but why was he with the Massouds? Because he comes from a broken family. He comes from a broken past. So there's this story there waiting to be cracked.
It'd be nice for him to have a few scenes with them because they haven't been used in ages, like a long time, which is a shame because they were okay when they were introduced.
I liked them. I really liked them a lot.
So it'd be nice, and it's quite a good story way to bring in new characters, having adopted a lot of people through the past. So I'm glad that they've linked him to them,
to the uncle and aunt.
So yeah, it'd be quite interesting to see.
Yeah, but there's a lot more to come. As we say, it's just been 2 scenes between Adam and Honey. So.
A lot more to come. He's got his official cast photos now on his Twitter.
Has he?
And he said it feels real now because he's got them and he's signing them for people. So he's got cast photos, so he's in it. He's in it for a little bit.
He must still be filming, so there's probably a lot more to come then.
Yeah, very exciting.
That's the first one in then. There's 2 in, 1 out?
No, that's not one of them.
Oh, is that not one of them? So there's 2 more?
Not on the big rumour at the moment. Yeah, there's 1 out. 1 returning as who's an old character and 1 as a new character. It's the big rumour.
We know the one.
But it's apparently going to be announced like the first week of September.
Oh, so not long. So we might be talking about it next week if the trailer's released.
If it's true. It might not even be true. I'm not going to say, but it's fine. Okay. We'll see what happens. So just got 2 tweets from Twitter. One is from Bread Karakar. Don't know who they are. They said #Eastenders. Go on, Honey. You've hit the jackpot with that dentist. I always thought she was too good for Billy. And someone else who I've deleted the name by accident. So it's
sorry, the person who wrote this tweet.
They say @BBC Stenders.
Another one direct. They want to be heard.
Yeah. I remember I took this one because there was 30 tweets which said this. They said, did the dentist call Honey Susan? Is that her real name? And it confused a lot of people online. So
I mean,
I forgot.
I genuinely did. When he called her Susan, I thought
her name's Honey because she was originally introduced as a honey trap for Patrick, wasn't she?
Ah, right, yeah.
And Patrick left his hat at the bar and Billy put the hat on and then the honey trap came in and thought Billy was Patrick.
I remember.
They could have given her a better detail of who she was trying to meet rather than he has this hat.
Yeah, but they do that, don't they? It's like I'm the one holding a book and a rose.
So that's why she's called Honey, I assume.
Susan's a nice name.
Susan.
It's a strong name.
Think about Susan. So our last little story of the week, getting there.
Yeah.
Is Tiffany, who's got a love-ish story with the gang. Jagger.
Well, we finally get to meet the gang outside of their
the girls there. Our favourite,
ways.
That girl. She hasn't got a name yet, has she?
Alicia.
Is that her name?
Alicia the Sloth.
Oh,
so there's her. Styx, Alicia the Sloth, Biggie, Bunhead, and Sia.
Bun.
Yes. I mean, as soon as he introduced the gang and you saw them in this environment in the park where they're all kind of just acting like teenagers in the park, they kind of lost a little bit of their fear. It's weird. When they were kind of roaming around the square and kind of pushing people around, they had this genuine kind of threatening fear to them. Now you've seen them outside of that environment, they've kind of lost any...
How come she's just called Alicia and not got a funny name?
Well, we've given her a name. Sloth.
Well, what do they call Tiff? They call her Ginger Spice, do you think?
No.
Once she's part of the gang. That will be her
call her
code name.
They call her Ginge, right?
Ginger Spice.
Ginge.
Jerry.
This is Styx, Alicia. She's the Sloth. Ginge.
So they hang out at the park all week, pretty much, just drinking cider. And he said to Tiff, "Oh, is this summer fruit one okay?" Or whatever it was.
He bought her a special cider, which was sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, he's quite smitten, isn't he? Is Jagger?
Is he, or is he playing her up?
I don't know.
Because he invited her over for a night round his for some more beers, but nothing went on. She said
nothing went on. They just talked on the sofa
because she stayed overnight, and Whitney was all worried because of her past.
Well, Whitney says that's how they start grooming you. So Whitney's worried that he's maybe because when she discovers he's 19, Whitney was in a very similar situation. She got groomed, and then she first of all found herself with an older man grooming, and then she found herself being groomed for sexual trade, and so she's worried that that's something that might be happening with Tiff. But Tiff says, "I've made mistakes and I'm learning from them."
So you said he's quite sweet. So you don't think Jagger's dangerous?
No, obviously he is dangerous. He's a very nasty person.
He gave her a stolen phone, and it had £50 on it.
No, you're right about that.
Buttering her up?
No, not just that. He's told her that they can use that phone for private conversations. So it's a phone that no one else knows that she has. So he could then start sending her things and information that no one else would know that she has privy to. So if they take her phone away from her, for instance, which I'm sure this is where it's heading, they're going to be like, "Tiff, you can't see him anymore. I'm taking your phone away from you." Then she's got the phone.
I've got £50.
But I've got £50. But Jagger wants to meet. Jagger actually encourages them meeting Whitney and the family, because she says, they're just going on at me all the time. And Jagger actually says, "Well, let's meet."
Oh yeah, because she says, "Oh, they're a bit scary, all the Slater."
Yeah.
All the women. He's like, "Nothing for me." We'll see.
He's a good little actor, actually. I must say, Jagger, the guy who plays Jagger. He's quite new to acting. He's only been doing a couple of years, and he's kind of found his feet from running to get where he's got to. And he's pretty decent, I must say.
Is it going to be another one of those? Because when Keegan first got introduced, he was introduced as this extra, and he was just like a thug bully. And obviously, because he was quite well received and he was a good actor, they introduced the Taylors around him. I don't think it was originally planned that way. So maybe they'll slowly try and rewrite Jagger to be a bit more sympathetic, like they did with Keegan.
Well, he loved his family, as it were, and that's always a strong theme running through EastEnders, isn't it? Because
isn't it a shame that part of the gang we don't have the two bullies back? They could be part of the gang. That would have been a nice little.
Oh no, because then it would have been obvious.
Yeah, but it would have been funny to see them back.
Because the two, well, I can't remember their names now. Yeah. I must admit, I would have liked to have seen them back. They were
the same age, 19.
Yeah, they would have been at that point. I mean, this is what I mean. A lot of the square still don't really know about the gang yet.
The gang,
Jagger's gang.
Sharon does.
But Sharon, this is what I mean.
Saw them off with her trainers.
With her white trainers. I mean, they don't really know the background of them just yet, but obviously at some point it's going to be released that Jagger's gang are the one who's been tormenting Dennis and Sharon and the Mitchells and Keanu. So at some point that's going to come into things. I mean, Keegan's already met them as well. Keegan's obviously met them as well. And Keegan is part of the friendship group with Tiff and Bex.
And
Louise. I mean, I did think actually this recently. Louise has gone a bit quiet as well.
And Bex.
Bex was in this week.
Yeah, but not really worthy.
Oh no, nothing to mention. She just said to
Alicia was in it more than Bex.
That's true. I love Alicia.
I know.
She was laughing
she needs a thingy card for signatures, I think.
Well, Alicia,
I'd write to her. Yeah.
She might have one. You never know. We have to find. Maybe we should look for her on Twitter later.
We shall.
But yes, so I don't know. I have high hopes for Jag. I think Jagger is going to end up being a good character more than I think the dentist is going to end up being a good character. So there you go. So that's where my mind's leaning.
Don't know. He's punched Dennis, so...
Has he punched Dennis? No, he got other people to do Dennis's work.
Oh, he wasn't there, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Jagger was fighting with Keanu. Yeah, so he can, he can hold up to himself if he needs to.
Well, yeah, it's all to come.
Yeah, all I would say is like what you said. Don't forget Keegan's past, because Keegan was introduced as a bad character, a bad guy,
and everyone said it would be possible to rewrite him to make him sympathetic.
But he is. He's a good character now. He's much more rounded, and that's what they're doing with Jagger. They're rounding him off a little bit with the family thing, his sister, and so on. Anyway, so we'll see.
We'll see what his plans are for Tiffany.
I'm sure there'll be more.
So we're just going to pop off and play a quick game. It's mine this week, so watch out. So we are playing Slater Family Values.
Oh, we haven't played this for a while. Good, okay.
So it's like 6 degrees of separation. So you have to link the two characters that I say together within 6 steps.
Yep, I'm on it. On it like a sonnet.
We know how everyone's related by somehow. So this week, you have 60 seconds. Get ready for this. To link Ted Murray.
Okay.
Good luck. To Cat Slater.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
So 3, 2, 1, go.
Right, so Ted Murray is the... goodness me. Ted doesn't mingle with anyone. Ted is friends with Patrick. That's the only link we have with Ted nowadays. Ted is friends with Patrick. Patrick is the father or the stepfather of Denise.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Denise is having... Denise is having fun times with Kush. Fun times.
A relationship.
Thank you. That's better. Kush is best friends with Martin Fowler. Martin Fowler is married to Stacey Slater. Yeah. Stacey Slater is the cousin of Cat Slater.
Yeah, well done. 10 seconds remaining.
Ted. I mean, he doesn't associate him with anyone.
No, it was difficult. I said Ted collects glasses for Mick.
Yeah.
Mick bought the Vic off of Phil. Phil's in a relationship with Kathy.
Yes.
Kathy faked her own death. And Kat returned to Walford after Big Mo faked her death.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. That's a join.
And so there you go. That was Slater Family Values.
Lovely. Oh, I love it when I win. It happens so often. It just feels numb now.
That was a hard one. So,
as did we all. So, the poll of the week, which we always post at the end of Monday, or during Monday's episode when it's aired in the UK. You can find it on our Twitter, which is at Eastenders Week. And this week we said, last week we were shocked by Ted's announcement that Joyce was a huge fan of parlour games. So we were wondering, apart from her famous treasure hunts, what was Joyce's favourite pastime for a rip-roaring good time? And the alternatives were charades, or charades. Depends what part of the country you're from. Scones and scones. Squeak Piggy Squeak. Musical statues. Or, and this is a personal favourite, Martin Fowler's 5 a day. Because I hear Joyce is a fan, or was a fan of the show.
Yeah.
Before her demise.
She used to listen while she sewed.
When she sewed and fixed things for other people. She used to say, Ted, are you listening to Eastenders Weekly? I've got no time for that. I'm playing chess with Bernie. So it was pretty much a 2-horse race, to be honest with you. There was a pity vote near the end of the week for musical statues, which got 4%. No one voted for Squeak Piggy Squeak, which upset me.
Because no one knows what it is.
I could go through the rules, just Google it. So second place was charades, which got popular. 35%. So the winner was a game that we made up. That does not even, if you Google it as a parlour game, would come up, and that was Martin Fowler's 5 a day.
There you go. It must be popular.
Well, I was going to say thank you. It means that you guys have listened to the show, so that's great to see. So yeah, as I say, another poll of the week is always up.
Should have put all 4 of our games up and see which one was the most popular.
Maybe that'd be next week's poll of the week.
Maybe.
Doesn't always have to be EastEnders.
No.
Whatever wins, we play for the rest of our lives. We always put a poll up on a Monday during EastEnders episode when it's aired in the UK. And you can find it on Twitter at EastEnders Week. Don't forget to vote. And also don't forget to comment if you have any other opinions on the show, on the poll of the week, on EastEnders itself, or anything you'd like us to talk about or discuss. We always read out any tweets that you send to us. You can also find us on Instagram at EastEnders Weekly Podcast, or you can email us, which is eastendersweekly@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook if you so wish. So there we go. That's another week all wrapped up.
All wrapped up and... Oh. Sorry. Just got a text.
You meant to turn your phone off during the show.
I know. Sorry, but it was important. It's actually my dentist, actually, giving me a text.
All right. What's he had to say for himself?
Well, just say I've got to wear my best suit tonight.